Welcome to the Futurist Mindset and Fifth Avenue Capital. Hello, everyone. My name is Tessa, and I want to introduce Regan Rodriguez to you. Hello, Regan.
Hello, Tessa. How are you doing today?
I'm good. I'm good. I always love our shows. Regan is a futurist, and he teaches stratosphere wealthy legacy families how to become impact investors, which ironically is what we're talking about today, impact investing.
It is. It is. I really did think quite a bit on what we want to talk on, and I kind of put together some notes and then scratched those off. And then about an hour ago, I thought, well, since I know this industry, I know this topic so well, I'll just have you ask me a few questions and then I'll just kind of answer them that way. And then this way, if people have other questions, they can just send me an email on them or something like that.
Yes, you can definitely put it in the chat if you have any questions. For sure, we'll check the comments in the chats at the end as well. So, yes, we have questions. Well, I'm new to this, so you're going to have to. I know you love this is one of the best things that you are good at is teaching and kind of educating people. So, what
Uh-huh.
what is impact investing anyway?
Okay. Let me describe it this way. For many years, I think that philanthropy and investing had been thought of as kind of separate, right?
Hmm,
Separate disciplines, right? One may be championing social change and the other maybe a financial gain. So the idea that the two approaches could be integrated in the same deals, that's a good way to describe it, right? In essence, delivering financial return while doing good, uh, doing good, right? So that's kind of the best thing, right? And
yeah.
that's the best way to describe it because now that's not the case anymore. That's what I'm wanting to mention. It's not the case anymore because impact investing seeks to generate social and environmental benefits, and it does that while delivering a financial return. So
That's both.
it, exactly, yeah, it's expanding as prom. What's happening that I'm seeing, not just in America, in other countries as well, is that this is expanding globally, and it's a promising tool for both investors and for philanthropists, right? So I know that I read a statistic uh, that said that uh, the value of current impact investing market, and this is a big number, it's 9 trillion in the U.S. alone, and that stat's actually from the Rockefeller Foundation. So when I saw that kind of jumped out at me, and I said to myself, the problems that societies face become more entrenched and they become complex, right? So when I say that it's entrenched and complex, what I'm really trying to say is that, at least to me, what I've noticed is that, to me, it is very clear that government and philanthropy is not able to solve that problem on their own. Okay. So what was there another question you wanted to
Well,
ask
I
on
was going
that?
to say the impact investments, like the definition of an impact investment, because I know you wanted to go through that too, and you've
Yeah,
given
yeah.
us a little bit about it, but we know we do have an image too, so I'm happy to put that up. You're ready.
Yeah, not quite yet. Let me talk
Okay.
on. It's a great question that you asked. So let me go into the definition of it, and then you're right. I do have an image that I sent you, gosh, just a few minutes ago before we got on. So yeah, what they're what the definition of impact investments? It's investments that are made into companies, organizations, and funds. That's what I do specifically, with the intention to generate social or environmental impact. And here's the thing, it's alongside a financial return. Okay, so while this kind of definition that I gave you, it leaves room for a broad set of investments, right? Because there's really two elements that I think should be present: intentionality and measurement. And Tessa, we talk about that almost each week when we have a new principal that is putting together a humanitarian project. We talk about that measurement that Fairmont does so well so that you see it recorded. So let me get back to it. The investor's intention should include some element of both social impact and financial return. And while there is more consensus on metrics for financial return, right, meaning return on investment, an impact investor should also aim to measure the social impact. Okay, they need to measure that. In essence, all investments make an impact on society. I think you understand what I'm, yeah, you
Yes.
understand what I mean by that in terms of job creation, right?
Yes.
And then impact investors intentionally are able to pursue investments that then lead to a measured positive social impact. So now's probably a good time if you want to show that image, Tessa, because I think that there's really two sides of any impact investing deal, as I mentioned, right? There's the impact investor and there's the impact investee. So the goal is for both sides to benefit. The impact investor, the investments are made when the intention to generate, remember I talked about measurably, when it's a measurable social impact along a financial return. Then let's look at the impact investee. That's a person that it's a mission-driven organization. It's for profit, nonprofit, or a hybrid, kind of like my project that I do, my fund, kind of like a lot of the ones that you see. Okay. It has a market-based strategy. Go ahead, Tessa. I sensed you wanted to add something to that.
No, I think this is fascinating because there's two aspects of it. And what we're looking at right now, this is where they fall on the chart. Like, are they leaning towards impact first versus finance first, right? So where their focus, where they're going to put their energy in first, is that the big picture?
Yeah. And so that's up to you, right, on how you want to invest. So impact investment appeals to many potential investors, right? Because it balances commerce and compassion, right?
I love it.
It also offers a broad range of options, right? So as you're seeing in this following this diagram, this picture here, you brought up a good point. There's strategies that emphasize financial return that also seek to benefit the society, right? So you then decide. So there are other approaches that put social impact first, accepting returns that kind of vary, if you'll notice from the market, right? So I think that's fine. You don't need to.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah.
I just was curious, and I don't know if you want to, obviously that's why impact investing matters, because it makes such an impact. But did you want to go into more depth on that before we dive into benefits and challenges?
No. That's great. I'm glad that you asked how it impacts, right? That investment matters. But before I talk on that, I was just thinking of something else, getting back to that image that you showed. That I think that when you find the important thing, if you're listening to this, is you need to find that place within yourself of what that spectrum is, right? If you want to be an impact investor, right, then you just need to decide what you need to do and maybe ask other friends of yours, maybe your significant other, for things that we enjoy doing. So because the reason why is because impact investments they can be complex, okay, when you're kind of creating that new financial vehicle, okay? And then there can be new types of arrangements between different partners. So I could go on and on that. Let's get to your question here. How does impact investing, or why, I think was what you asked, why does it matter? Okay, because regardless of where one lands on the spectrum, impact investing provides a tool, right, for achieving that social good. And it's going to be kind of a wider array of assets. You've noticed that. I was just now thinking of like Felipe that we had on with e-waste technology. Right. And then I think of private foundations in the United States, right? How they will then be able to achieve social good with not only their 5% required, because I don't know if you knew this, but private foundations, they're required to donate 5%. Okay.
I did not know that.
Yeah. But even though with that, like the 95% that the endowments that what remains invested. Okay. So here's another stat that in the US, foundations make annual grants that are totaling 60 billion while holding assets totaling, this is a big number. Are you ready? 865 billion.
Wow.
So do you get, when you say wow, do you get that, Tessa, like through the token with what I do with the cafe, they could invest more and still see their return and not look at it as just, I'm doing philanthropy.
Absolutely.
Yeah. What other questions do you think would be helpful to kind of go over on this?
Well, I did want to ask about the benefits and challenges of impact investing too, because this does sound different. So I'm sure there's things that come, that good side and the bad side comes with everything, right? So if you could go into that, that would be excellent.
Yeah. And, when you said the bad, I thought to myself, oh no, I can't believe she said that. But I am glad you said that, because everyone knows that there have been, there's been negative about microfinancing and how that can kind of, there's challenges. Okay. Let me talk on this before I get into that. I want to talk about how impact investing can help your goals. Right before we got on, you were telling me about the goals you've got. I know that you're got a lot of things. You just kind of closed on a new home.
Right.
You're in the process of, may I share more? You've got a lot of new goals, right?
Right. Lots.
Yeah.
Definitely.
So think about this. If you say, how can it help, further impact your goals? Well, I thought of one right now. Think about how it can leverage philanthropic dollars, right? So that your investment returns can be reused over and over and can kind of compound the impact. Okay? Another one that I just thought about is it allows that donor like that freedom, that flexibility to test, maybe innovative ways, right? Or as we would say, futuristic ways,
right?
To achieve a financial return as you also seek impact. And then I'm going to give a third one. A donor uses it to breathe new life.
Absolutely.
Or to complement their philanthropic strategy. So think about this. What I've noticed from my investors is they report back to me how satisfied they are after incorporating impact investing in a redesign, if you will, of their approach to social change. And then another thing I'm going to get into before I get into the benefits. So how does it help them with further financial goals? Okay. Because we talked about that, and I just thought of another one. Environmental, social practices, good projects that might lead to financial outperformance, right? Also, merging investments with impact efforts, okay, can also kind of streamline things. So I'll give another one. An investor can what? They can bring market-based approaches to bear on social causes that they care about. And here's the important thing, while also avoiding making investments that are in opposition to their values.
Gotcha.
Can you already see that?
Yes.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
Someone
Yes.
might be investing in some mutual fund. I have an exact situation like that. And part of that mutual fund, I'm not going to get too much into it, but one of it was that they were investing in this pharmaceutical company. Well, his wife was doing a little bit more research, and she said, honey, do you know that that same pharmaceutical company also is involved with this, and they're also involved in that, and we give money anti this, but they do that. So now it's not consistent with their values.
Right.
Right?
Conflict of interest with their values.
Yeah. So now let's talk about, you said, what are the benefits? Well, that donor and investors can say that they're attracted to impact investments for a variety of reasons, right? So one could be their return on investment. The other could be more assets can be aligned with their philanthropic goals. The other could be that investors, as we just talked about, they are not working against themselves, right? When investments are in line with your philanthropic values, then you as that donor, you're not going to find yourself, as we mentioned earlier, in that awkward situation of holding public ownership in companies that conflict or even actively undermine their grant-making strategy. Do you understand?
Yes. Mm-hmm. Absolutely. That makes sense. I completely agree. And I think we put our money where it's most important for us and where it can make the most impact, right? So this is awesome to have you explain all of that. Did you have anything else you wanted to go into that one before we go into another question? I don't want to rush you too much.
Well, no, just that, think about it. Two goals you want to have, right? Mission-related investments and program-related investments.
Oh, okay.
And program-related, that word that they call PRIs, was actually kind of started. That's kind of like what the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation is, okay? Because they're complementing traditional grant making to then scale social enterprises that serve the poor, and they do. That's a great thing.
Gotcha. Okay, so that's PRI. And what is ESG that's on here? ESG? Does that? I'm not sure if that's an acronym we need to know.
No. It's just dealing, same thing, when you're setting up funds like this, when you're doing philanthropy, all of that makes sense. So let's get into why the investing is a good fit for you. Okay?
Perfect.
Whether impact investing is a strategy that you should consider will really depend on, as I mentioned before, what your values are, what I also mentioned about your recent goals, right, Tessa? So, and then how well do you understand the opportunities that are before you? One of the things I notice is every time I have a new client of mine on these shows, you seem to really grasp what they do and what the benefits are. So maybe that's a good question to then ask you. You've even said that you're new at this, at seeing humanitarian type projects. I'm thinking back to the one that we had with Cora at Cora, and she's doing great, by the way. I keep getting feedback from her on how well she's doing. You seem to really grasp that well, because I think back at how when she was mentioning benefits, and then so were another two investors that we had on there, you saw other things that were important to mention. So if you want to talk a little bit about that, how do you then make that decision when you say, this seems like it's a great business to invest in, or a great philanthropic, How do you make that decision, Tessa? Because I can tell that it seems like something kind of it just something kind of hits you, and then other times you're like, wow, this is great, this is doing really good, but it may not be. Talk on that.
Mhm.
I
Well,
don't want to put words in your mouth. Help
oh
us
no,
out.
I think that there's personal experiences that people have had where they saw something not working. Maybe in the healthcare, I mean, I've seen that specific projects. I've seen people
Hmm.
that have minutes, and so it's a heartstring, right? So it's pulling on your heartstring of what the problem is very real to you, and then you see a solution, and so it's easier to be excited about that. But specifically for Cora, with having all the information at their fingertips that's only on their phone, like it,
Hmm.
I don't know, I think it's just knowing what people are, the pain points that people have, and if it solves it, it's perfect.
Very good. Very good. I'll wrap up with this on that note, okay? One key concept that you want to remember is that impact investing is just one tool of many to achieve for your goals, right? So the first thing you want to do is determine what success might look like, then work backwards. And that way you'd be able to determine how you might integrate impact investing into your overall portfolio.
Wonderful. Well, thank you so much, Reagan. I appreciate you. You always are a wealth of knowledge for us. And we're
You're
here
quite
each
welcome.
each week, and we will be live in the feed chatting with you. If you guys have any questions, feel free to leave them in the chat and hit the bell so you can get reminders when we go live.